I should say. Hi, ladies. Sorry. My gosh, it's been a day. How are you guys? How's everything going? Yeah? Good. Have you guys had lunch? What time is it? Oh, it's 2 o'clock. All right, there you go. All right, well, just to give you guys a little warning, because we're starting a tiny bit late, we're probably going to go over the estimated amount of time for this, and it's for all a good reason, because you have amazing, amazing female leaders here that are about to speak to you all on e-commerce and retail and the changing landscape of this crazy, crazy industry. I know that some of you will be in the industry as startup founders. Some of you probably work in e-commerce and retail. And I think that throughout the next hour and a half, what we'll be talking about is, one, what that landscape looks like right now. Number two, thinking about all that you need to know from a supply chain management standpoint. And three, thinking about all of the things from creative standpoint and how that all comes together. And over the course of the next hour and a half, you're also going to be able to play with these amazing Chromebooks. And one of the reasons we're so excited to be doing Startup Studio for the second time, this is actually the second time that Girlboss has done this. And it was the first time we did it in New York with Chromebook, and we're doing it again this year. And we chose to really, really deep dive into these industries this time to really give all of you a very focused, instructional conversation so that you can walk away with actionable resources and not just this, have this amazing and dynamic conversation, but really walk away with something that you can put into action starting tomorrow. And we're so proud and happy to be working with Chromebook on this endeavor, because they are really a brand that's thinking about how women can operate differently, can be working differently because your priorities are different. All of the opportunities that we have are increasing, but that also means that our plates get fuller and fuller and fuller. Nothing's being taken off that plate. So how do we navigate through all of these things? How do we maximize productivity? How do we really think about navigating across our personal lives, our careers? And it's really about redefining success for yourselves, which is what Girlboss is all about. And Chromebook is all about reimagining how you are living your life and how technology actually works for you and not just within your everyday life. All right, so without further ado, Ivka Adam is the founder and CEO of Iconery, which I'm sure most of you have heard about already, but she is going to take you guys through a very high level, but also a very, very insightful industry, marketplace insights and trends and all of those great things. Feel free to ask her questions, and at the end, at the close of all of this, we'll have that Q&A session, and then followed by that, we'll have 2 other sessions that take you through workshops, and we'll go from there. Sound good? And if you guys have any questions about the Chromebooks themselves, as from a functionality standpoint throughout the next hour and a half, do me a favor, just raise your hands, and we'll be able to come over. All right? Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Ivka, and like she said, I'm the founder and CEO of Iconery. We are a supply chain as a service. So on the surface, we look like a jewelry shopping website, but on the back end, we're actually working with all these kinds of influencers to design, develop, and distribute their fine jewelry collections. We've launched 21 collections in the 2.5 years we've been live. You probably saw Jen Gotch. She's our most recent collection that we've done. So a little bit about me, just so you guys understand why I'm actually up here talking about e-commerce. I have 18 years of marketing experience, the last 11 of which were in e-commerce. Wait, did I say that right? I have 18 years of marketing experience, 11 years of e-commerce experience. Most notably, I was at eBay for a number of years. I ran product and mobile marketing for North America, and then I've been in other leadership roles at e-commerce companies, and I started Iconery 3.5 years ago. I have a lot of experience from big marketplaces to small startups in the e-commerce space. Now, I'm going to talk really fast, so if you can't hear me, turn to your neighbor and ask what I said. Another thing is there's a lot of links throughout my presentation, and rather than you having to copy them down and awkwardly enter them in, if you go to the Iconery, the company's name is Iconery, but our handle is the Iconery. On Instagram, I've posted a bunch of stuff in our stories. So anytime for the next 24 hours, go on our stories and you'll get all the links and some of the key takeaways. Okay, so I am going a little bit of a lay of the land, where we are with e-commerce, and then I'm gonna go over how you can start and grow your own business and some tips and tools. So, first of all, e-commerce is awesome. Like, it is so cool that we don't have to just build a retail brick and mortar store anymore and then fill it with shelves of inventory and then try to figure out how to get people to come in and buy. One of the best, it's even easier now to create your own e-commerce shop. So like 7 years ago when Honest Company founded, they had to put millions of dollars into building out an e-commerce tech platform. They had a huge team of developers and it was very clunky and expensive. But now, thanks to Shopify, definitely go visit the team out there, they're awesome. Thanks to Shopify and e-commerce plugins on WordPress and Squarespace, you can basically launch a product or your business in a couple days. Wait, go back. Okay, so some of the reasons why e-commerce is awesome is you can get to know your customer better than you ever could in a retail space. Because if you think about it, in retail, or a brick and mortar, you'd have people walking in and out, you'd never know who they are. But with e-com, you can put Google tracking pixels up, little Google shout out, Facebook pixels up, and be able to remarket to your customer. You can also gather their email, their social addresses, and get to know them really well. You can also use social and platforms like SurveyMonkey to actually co-develop your inventory with them. A lot of big influencers do this now. You've probably seen on Instagram stories, they'll ask polls, should we make this or that, this color or that color? And that's a really great way so that you are not fundamentally tied to making a bet on your inventory and then hoping it'll sell later. And that brings me to the inventory piece. So the cool thing about e-commerce is it means that you're not tying up all your cash in a product. So, in business, cash is king, and if you have put all your money into inventory, that's gonna drive a lot of your decision making and brand building and the kind of marketing you do just to get that product out the door. And if you can't sell it, that's basically cash that you'll never get back. So the nice thing about e-com is you don't have to have deep SKU count or deep inventory levels in order to have your business. In fact, with Iconery, we actually launched a couple of our pieces as renderings. We'd never actually made the piece, so we could find out if people even wanted that piece of jewelry. And once they did, we had great relationships with manufacturers so that we could actually make the piece in 2 to 3 weeks and get it to the customer very quickly. So one thing, don't ever let inventory drive your decision making. Work with your manufacturers to try to get it so that you can keep inventory levels really light and manufacture quickly. Okay, so actually, let me take a second and ask, how many of you are thinking about launching an e-commerce business? Okay, and how many already have one? Awesome, so you're in the right room. Okay, so something I'm really passionate about is the customer, and you're gonna hear me say this a lot, customer, customer, customer. The best thing is when you're getting ready to start your company, or even now if you've already launched, you really need to understand who your customer is. And I'm not talking girl between the ages of 24 and 35 living in a metropolitan area. No, you need to come up with one persona. She is Monroe, she's 32, she lives in Seattle, and you talk to that one person and one person only. On our Instagram stories, I have a link to a blog post that explains why you're picking one person to talk to. Everyone else will either have an affinity for that person or aspire to be that person, but it's very, very critical that you know who your customer is. As well as you can plan ahead of time who your customer is, you want to continuously track and watch who's coming in, who's actually buying and engaging. Because you may have gone out thinking that you're selling a product to a 25-year-old girl, and then you find out that there's this whole group of single dads in the Midwest that love your product. And then you may want to think about, because of that data, shifting your product, your branding, your messaging to actually double down on who your customer really is. So to get started, so for those of you who are thinking about doing the business, throw up a landing page with an email capture. Then put your Google and your Facebook pixels on there and just let it wait. Even if you don't have, even if you're not gonna launch your business for another 6 months, you're gonna start gathering emails and people that you can immediately market to as soon as you launch. Now the pixel thing's really interesting because a lot of times they'll tell you, oh, put up a 30-day, 90-day pixel. Put up the longest range you can put up. I don't know what it is these days, but I think we were, when I launched Iconery, we'd had a landing page up for like a year, and we were able to remarket to those people. Even if they hadn't engaged with us in a year, as soon as we launched, I now had a really huge pixel pool to remarket it to. Really invest in your brand. So where you want to splurge is on the branding, the photography, hire someone. Don't just think you can fake it. This is something you really want to double down on. In the age of millennial, when experiences and beautiful stuff on Instagram is really important, this is where you should invest. Also, even if your product is not very expensive, you should really invest in the packaging, because the experience of opening is a really important, everyone likes experiences these days, so unboxing is really important to invest in. Personally, it drives me crazy because our packaging is like $8 to $10, and I know that it's getting thrown away. I don't know if you guys know this, but packaging is really expensive and it gets thrown away. So I personally want to start an anti-packaging movement, but in the age of Instagram and Instagram stories, I have to spend money on packaging. And then when you get started, think of your friends and family as the best micro-influencers. So start giving them product ahead of time. Ask for their reviews, testimonials that you can put up on the website. Ask them to take user-generated photos of the product and share on their social. So you're driving FOMO from your best future customers. Okay, so an example of a company that did this really well is Harry's. Again, the link to a little bit more about what they did is in our Instagram stories. Tim Ferriss wrote a whole blog post on how they generated 100,000 emails in 1 week. And they employed all this kind of things like gamification, free product, to help people share, spread the word. So when they launched, they were immediately driving impact. The Kardashians do this better than anyone. So drive FOMO. It's okay to talk about your product before it's available so that people are excited. It also gives the opportunity to fake it and say, you know, we have a waiting list of 5,000 or whatever, so that people are like, oh my gosh, I gotta get on the waiting list so I can get this product as soon as possible, even if you don't have a waiting list. Okay, so back to the customer. Something that I'm really, really passionate about is making sure that the customer experience is seamless. So in every role I've ever had at any company, one of the things I do is I'll actually print out each stage of the customer journey. So let's say a couple weeks ago, Heidi Klum posted on Instagram, she posted a bracelet. The moment she posted, I actually keep up in my, in our office, we have a big Google Analytics real time up on the wall. And influencers never tell us when they post. So I all of a sudden saw that we were getting a spike in traffic on the site, went back to see what it was from. Heidi Klum posted about our bracelet. So I then went to our social channel, made sure that the link in our bio went to that exact bracelet, and there was something about her that we posted a recent picture, so that when people came to our Instagram, they were getting sort of a unified, qualified experience. So what I would recommend doing is taking screenshots of every part of your customer journey and pasting them on a board or a wall, and making sure that you have unified voice and imagery and language, so that the customer is getting a really, really smooth experience throughout the customer journey. And there's another link in Instagram stories to the Mckenzie shopping journey. So everyone kind of thinks of the journey as a funnel. So you come in at the top, and then once they transact, that's fine. But Mckenzie actually drew this as a circle. So the moment they have the purchase, you're then sending post-purchase emails to get them, to let them know that their package is on their way. And that's an opportunity to bring back that person as a customer, as a repeat purchaser. And your best repeat purchasers, your best next customers, are going to be the ones you already have. Wait, go back. So in the age of mobile, especially since influencers are pushing so much of your product and the products around us, everything is happening on mobile. I think 65% of our new visits are on mobile to our site, and 45% of transactions are on mobile. So do not design your e-commerce experience on the desktop. Always design thinking mobile first, and then think about what the desktop experience is. And Shopify has a lot of great templates that are mobile friendly, so you can, at the same time, make sure that you are optimizing for mobile. So there's a couple things that you need to make sure that you are focusing on for your marketing. Some key channels, and I also have these in Instagram stories. So you gotta make sure you've got your email list. Email is golden. Like you want to be really doing everything you can to gather every possible email that you can and communicate to them in a way that is authentic and not too pushy. You want to invest in social channels. You want to make sure you have a really strong About Us section on your site with images, because this day and age, people don't want to connect with brands, they want to connect with people. So they don't want to buy from a nameless, faceless organization. For new customers that come in, the number 2 page that they click on our site is the About Us section, where they get to know about me, the people on the team, they see our pictures, they understand our story. Create this story about yourself so people feel like they're engaging with a trustworthy company because you're behind it. Enlist or sign up for Google Voice for texting and for voice calls. This has been an amazing transformation for us. If you think about it, like I would prefer to text over call or email at any point of the day. And so the fact that we give our customers the ability for them to text us at any point, awesome. And Google Voice is free. Now, the other thing I've realized is that there's been this huge arbitrage opportunity in SEO image search. So, if you think about, like, let's say I'm going to use myself as an example. Let's say I see a girl wearing a bracelet that has this pearl bracelet. I'm probably not going to go over to the girl and say, hey, where'd you get that from? I'm probably going to go home and actually look, gray pearl gold beaded bracelet, and see what comes up on Google Images. How many of you guys have done that? Right, okay. So instead of making the Google image algorithm work really hard and have to guess what's in the photo, go ahead and in the file name for all of your photos, write out what it is. And go Google search what the similar products are and see how other people like that are paying for Google Shopping, see what they're paying for and what keywords are really resonating, and then put those in your image. And then you can sort of, we've generated tens of thousands of dollars just because we are doing a great job with Google SEO, image search. Now, those channels are table stakes. Notice I did not say Facebook ads or PR. Okay, I would not recommend investing in Facebook ads or Instagram ads or a PR agency until you know you have a dialed product and you know you have customers and you're using it as fuel on the fire, fuel to the fire. On the fire? Fuel for the fire. Okay. It's a waste of money to just go out and put Facebook and Instagram ads when you don't know what your core value proposition is, which is what you're gonna get from your first batch of customers. You should be texting with them and asking them, like, how did you hear about us? Like, what do you love about us? And then use that feedback and some of maybe their beautiful images to actually start doing your own Facebook ads. Again, PR is amazing, I love it, but it does not generate sales. It's great air cover for the rest of your marketing, but it's great brand awareness, it doesn't generate sales. So until you're ready to like start really putting yourself out there, you've got your customer, your brand, everything dialed, wait and hold off on investing in PR. It's really hard to see, but there's like an X there, and then okay, check, okay. So, however, where you really need to double down is working with influencers. There's one thing I've learned in the past three and a half years, it's that influencers are here to stay, and they're only gonna get more powerful. And the reason for that is that people want to connect with people. And these guys have a very engaged, authentic audience, and it's important to work with them to help tell your story. I am going to actually talk a lot more about this, but let's go to the next slide. Okay, so how did we get to this world of influencers? In the beginning, back in the 40s, way back, brands were actually built because these companies would invest a ton of money into TV, billboards, magazine ads, and radio. So basically the biggest brands out there of today were built because they poured a shit ton of money into their advertising, okay? So then in the next generation, they started saying, well, let's tap into celebrities. Let's have them help get the message out and augment our brand awareness. Now, in the social age, things have really flipped on their heads because now, instead of brands pouring all the money saying this is what you should wear, this is what you should buy, influencers are now curating the world around us. And that's what I like to call influencer 1.0. So influencers helping curate the world around us. The thing is, all these influencers now have gotten to know their audience so well, they actually know exactly what their audience wants and doesn't want, and which leads us to this huge trend in the e-com industry these days, or the retail industry, and that's what I call influencer 2.0 or influencer commerce. And a good example of that is like Emily Weiss. She was writing Into the Gloss for a number of years, understood exactly what her customers wanted in a makeup brand and a beauty brand that didn't feel like they were getting. So she launched Glossier, and it's been generating like 600% year-over-year revenue growth. So at this point, you've got influencers launching their own brands, and you launching your own brands. They have a built-in audience. If you don't have a built-in audience, you are going to have a much harder time growing your company as compared to the influencers. So you can do one of two things. Work with them, or also unleash the influencers within your company. You become the face of your brand. You become active on social. And then if there's people on your team that are very active, let them start to speak about the brand for you. The most important thing is that you're letting people connect with the people in your company. Now, the nice thing is that there's so many influencers at this point that the leverage has kind of fallen back in the hands of the brands. At one time, every influencer could command paid posts or whatever without ever showing any performance. At this point, there's so many out there that you should never have to do anything you're not comfortable with financially, because there's going to be 1,000 more lining up that you could work with. When we start working with influencers ahead of time, I always look at we use Demographics Pro, which is kind of expensive, but we use Demographics Pro to analyze their background. This is like Rashida Jones, where I can understand exactly what her audience looks like, what they have an affinity for, how old they are, income, all this stuff to help us understand whether or not we even want to work with them. Because a lot of people come to us and, everyone wants a jewelry collection, but not everyone can actually sell jewelry to their audience because their audience either can't pay for it at the price levels that they want to design at, or they, well, that's mostly it. Or they don't have an affinity for jewelry. Maybe they're like all athletic people. I don't know. There's crossover. You get it. So, so really, really, really put every influencer to the test and make them prove to you that they should be a representative of your brand. Okay. How are we doing on time? Okay, I'll hurry up. Okay, so this is something I'm really passionate about that no one is talking about, and that is why it's so important to understand this whole influencer ecosystem and influencer 2.0. And that is because, hi, Alexia. That is because the future is already happening in Asia. Now, this is not, you don't have to read this at all. All you have to notice is that this is the Western shopping journey, and notice how fragmented it is. In Asia, Weibo is connected to Taobao. Everything is connected. That's what you see here. So when you have an influencer basically doing her Instagram stories on Weibo, you can actually look at the products that she's talking about. You can interact with her. You can say, actually, could you try that lipstick on again or whatever? And then you can check out directly from the screen, from her profile page, without ever leaving that platform. It's a super integrated, seamless process. And guess what? This only serves to help the influencers going forward. This is not going to be what's helpful to the brands that we know, like Gap or Banana Republic. It only serves the influencers. So that is why, and there's a link about this also in Instagram stories, this is why you should really be understanding how to work with influencers in order to accelerate the growth of your brand. Okay, again, people want to connect with people. So one of the best things that you can do is, even if you're not going to have a retail store, go participate in pop-up shops like the one out here, which is amazing. The best thing you can do is actually, as the founder, participate in them, because one, you get to have customer feedback to understand what are people more, what are they gravitating to? What do they have questions about? That helps you better understand how to communicate on your site. And then also, people love, like when you've met the founder of Bando, like Jan Gotch, you're like, I really want to be their customer because she's so cool and awesome. So get out there. This is one of my friend's company. Harper Wild, the founder, is there actually at the pop-up. I always go to every pop-up to engage with people. Don't ever send just your assistants or your marketing team. You should be there yourself. Okay. At the end of the day, your business is based on a really great product at a great price for the perfect customer. I fundamentally do not believe that a business model is a subscription box, a rental, or a flash sale. If you can't sell your product full price to your customer, you don't deserve to try one of these gimmicks. These are gimmicks, not business models. Okay, and we've heard this actually on panels earlier, but if you can't actually generate income and build a business yourself, you shouldn't be taking other people's money. I think I've invested about $100,000 of my own money. I didn't take a paycheck for the first 2 years. I was literally selling eBay stock and then taking it out and paying people just so that the first year and a half of the business. It's really painful to feel every dollar go out, but if you don't know how to build a profitable business, you don't deserve to try to accelerate the growth with other people's money. Okay. So a couple weeks ago, I was shopping. Have you guys heard of Lunya, the sleepwear company? Oh, okay, it's really cool. So I went onto her site, lunya.co, and I was like, holy shit, she has nailed every part of the e-commerce shopping. She's got the plugins, she's like figured out the whole thing, and they're tens of millions in revenue. They're actually all on Shopify, so you don't even need to she didn't build her own Shopify. So I wanted to show you what was so great about it. So first thing I want you to notice, when we landed on there, it took a couple seconds before the email pop-up came up. Did you see that? So how many guys know how important that is and why? Okay, so Google will dock you if you have a pop-up come up immediately. The other nice thing is it wasn't super intrusive. It was nicely done, so you didn't feel like all of a sudden you were overwhelmed by a pop-up. So when you enter in your email, it then immediately says, thank you, and what's your birthday, month and day, which I was like, oh, man, if I knew everyone's birthdays from our customers, I'd be like, it'd make a whole nother personalized experience of marketing easier. And the way she did it was just so seamless and easy and gentle, and I was like, oh, sure, I'll put it in. So I love that. Then, let me see. The homepage has large, beautiful imagery, really easy navigation, favorites. That's important because people want to know what everyone else is buying. And there was validation from the press, if you keep going down. Okay. Then if you go to the About Us section, so go to About, right there. There's a whole story about Ashley, the founder. This is great. We get to know her, get to understand who she is and what was behind her wanting to create this company. It wasn't just to build a business and make money. It was actually she had a passion behind it, and you're like, okay, cool, I get her mission and her vision. If you go to the difference, it has this
From our perspective,
beautiful
sleepwear
video.
is the most underestimated
Ashley
part
speaking.
of your wardrobe.
Gorgeous.
The reality is you spend
Shows
over
real
a
people.
third of your life sleeping.
It's easy to see the products above the fold when you land on it. And then let's click on the actual product. Like that one? Okay. So above the fold, beautiful. Pretty much everything you need to know. I love that she has tabs here when you want more questions. This is so cute and super on brand. Drop a Hint is an amazing feature. It's pretty cheap. It's just a Shopify add-on plugin. And that helps people show their desired engagement when they aren't actually going to purchase. So you kind of have another opportunity to see who your customers are, what they want without them actually having to tell you with their pocketbook. And let's see, she's got reviews on there, other favorites that people have on that product page. And then finally, Shopify checkout. The great thing about using something like Shopify is they are testing the most optimized checkout experience across every single one of their clients and their customers. So what you're getting is the best checkout flow to optimize for conversion. So you never have to think about what goes here, what goes where. It's just they handle it for you. So yeah, I'm done. So takeaways. Customer experience is king. That's obvious. Track and test, spend your money like it's your own. Influencer commerce is the future. Please read more upon this. It's really, really fascinating what's happening in Asia. Amazon is your friend. I did not touch on this, but it's really, really interesting. At this point, having your brand, even if it's a luxury brand on Amazon, does not erode the brand awareness. It's really interesting. You're gonna have people already trying to find your product on Amazon. What you wanna do is have something there for them to actually try. You don't have to put your entire product suite, but use it as a marketing and a traffic tool that you're not having to pay for those customers. People are just finding you on Amazon and having that great Amazon experience. And then, I did not talk about this one either, but some of the best advice I ever got was when I was 29. I was finishing business school, and I had an offer from eBay, and I had this really cute idea for a startup, and I was like, oh, I'm empowered. I'm a business school grad. I'm going to start my own company. Like, this is the age of the internet. I went to one of my friends who's a 3-time CEO. He's like incredible, and he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, you have a couple brand names on your resume, but you don't nearly have enough on your resume. If you are serious about building a company in e-commerce, go get that eBay name brand on your resume. And I'm really glad I did, because as a result, 2 things happened. I saw what a multi-billion-dollar e-commerce company looked like, so I knew how would I grow from from nothing to a billion-dollar company if I haven't seen it. And I saw how that works, so I knew the steps to get there. The second thing is I worked with so many smart people that are now, for instance, CMO of Facebook, like head of mobile for Pinterest. All these people that I now have this great network to go to ask questions, to ask for seed funding, to get really great deals on, Facebook ads and stuff. So use that. If you have an idea, first go work for a big company, learn everything you can from the way they're doing things right and wrong, network, and that will only help you when you go to start your own company. With that, I am finished.